What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader. Happy holidays to all of you. I've got a stupid-looking avatar wearing a Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer outfit for this thumbnail. I thought you guys would enjoy that. But I've got some loose graded figures to go through today, and the general premise of this video is that there's no slowdown in prices. And I also do have one seller that I think you need to watch out for and be very careful for. If you're looking at any of the items that he has listed. I assume it's a male, but I just got back from the doctor today with a checkup, and unfortunately for my wife, no, I'm not dying yet. So she's going to have to wait to sell off my collection to fund that Italian vacation with her new boyfriend Thad. But in the event that you guys are out there looking right now during the holidays for some loose graded Star Wars figures, there are some beauties out there, as you can see by this thumbnail. And the prices are not slowing down. Before we dig into the data, I had to show you this one. One of my Patreon supporters purchased this recently from another friend of mine. So it was just kind of one of those transactions where I kind of helped it along a little bit, but I stayed out of the price negotiations. I do not know what it sold for, but I had to show it on the channel. My Patreon supporter was kind enough to send me some photos once he received it in hand. It's an AFA 85 plus orange-haired Luke farm boy. So it's got the brand new case-style archival case, and I believe, I don't know this for a fact, but I believe this is the highest graded orange-haired Luke farm boy in the world. This is the only one that exists that's an 85 plus. I don't know that for a fact, but I'm almost positive. But a gorgeous example. Here's the back of the figure for those of you who want to see it. The orange-haired Luke is, I believe, a two-line Hong Kong, and I think that's what that is there. But pretty impeccable, and here's the grading label, 85 plus archival case. So congratulations to my friend and Patreon supporter that picked it up, and congratulations to the seller, who's also a good friend of mine, that was able to sell it. So I hope everyone was happy with that transaction, and I was glad to play just a very, very small part in that. Let's dig into the data. We've got a loose graded AFA 85 vinyl cape Jawa displayed with the card. Not my kind of thing. This is probably not how I would want to display it, but it's an awfully nice item, and it sold at auction by Probstein 123. I bought from this seller before, usually kind of known for trading cards, PSA graded trading cards, but this seller does occasionally get in some beautiful examples of figures, and this was 85 plus, AFA 85 plus, not 85, vinyl cape Jawa. So about as good as it gets. Probably fell right off the card, and there's the item. $3,550 and change, plus $14 shipping. Took that one home. Now, as crazy as that price sounds, a UKG 90 grade vinyl cape Jawa also sold right around the same time. And so this is the AFA 85 plus that sold for about $3,500. I'll let you guys mull over what you think a UKG 90 grade old case style sold for in an auction. And here it is. It sold for 4,500 pounds, or about 5,497 US dollars. So 5,500 US dollars. Now that's the highest price that I can remember for a vinyl cape Jawa, loose graded. And you can see the label there, 90, straight 90s for the sub-score. So this one attracted a lot of attention over in the UK. Congratulations to the seller on that one. That's the highest price that I can remember for a loose graded vinyl cape Jawa, $5,500 US for that one. Next up was a Leia, Princess Leia, UKG 85% with a 90% subgrade. And I thought this one was kind of an interesting one. It was a Hong Kong, but look at the hands on this one. The hands were so white. Just really, really white hands. I don't know if that's paint degradation or if that's just a factory thing, but easily the whitest hands I've ever seen on a Leia, especially for a Hong Kong. You occasionally see the white hands on a Taiwan Princess Leia, but this one was the Hong Kong, and very, very white hands. And again, that one was graded UKG 85% with 85, 85, 90 subgrades. That one sold for 355 pounds, or about 433 US dollars. UKG 85% Jawa. This one was the no COO smooth cape variation. Really nice example. This would be like a Palatoy Jawa. This one sold for 97 pounds. I thought that was a fantastic deal. 118 US dollars plus $24 shipping. And this one was sold by the Muffin Man. Shout out to the Muffin Man, because he's no longer using the global shipping program. So that is really awesome for those of us in the US that like to bid on his really nice items. He's got beautiful foreign variants. I've bought from this seller before, but it's really nice to not pay global shipping program prices for the most part on his items. So, but that was a really great deal. Somebody got a great deal on a nice high-grade Palatoy Jawa. Next up was an AFA 80 Death Star droid loose graded. That one sold for 87 bucks, free shipping. That one was Vaults of Yavin. I've bought from that seller before. Been very, very happy buying from that seller. But an AFA 80 Death Star droid for $87 shipped was a great buy. So I was so tempted to buy it, but I already have an 85, but not needed. I did not need an 80 grade, but it was very tempting at that price. This one just sold today as of the making of this video on December 5th. This was a CAS 80 plus grade dent in boot snaggletooth, and you know, this one looks extremely clean, and that just shows you again how difficult it can be to get a high grade blue snaggletooth. And it's hard to see in the photos, but it looks like the torso does have some slight discoloration versus the limbs, just slightly darker. It kind of adds a little green tint to it once they start to discolor like that. But the hands had one little tiny nick or 2 or 3 nicks on that one right hand. The boots were impeccable, though. Look how beautiful those boots were. The belt was in great shape. Everything else was in great shape. So 80 plus grade, that one sold for $1,200. $1,200 that just sold today. But a gorgeous example and probably very fairly graded, in my opinion. Next up was his smaller, more common cousin, although this is the PBP variant. This is the red snaggletooth in the Scar COO PBP, Spanish-made PBP variant. Brand new case style, UKG 85%. That one also sold by the Muffin Man, 123 pounds or about $150 US plus shipping. I thought that was a very fair deal as well for a nice high-grade Spanish PBP snaggletooth. He also had a die-cast TIE Vader. The Vader's TIE Advanced in a die-cast. So those are really nice. This one was UKG 85%, and this one had the newer case style. I thought this was kind of a nice case style that UKG has moved over to. It's got little dowels to hold the wings in place, and then some more dowels around the cockpit or fuselage. But I always love saying that word, fuselage. That one sold for 168.99 pounds, or about $206 US plus shipping. I thought that price was very, very fair. And, you know, just given what I see sometimes, some of the AFA loose graded examples go for it. They can sell for double that sometimes. So I think for a UKG 85% die-cast Vader TIE Advanced, I think that was a very, very fair price. He also had a UKG 95% Dianoga Trash Monster. That one sold for 200 pounds or $244 US plus shipping. I thought that was another great price. Really attractive. The only thing I wish with UKG is that they move, instead of using the long squares to hold the Dianoga in place, I wish they would move over to circular dowels. I just think it would present a little bit better, and you could see it a little bit easier on some of the side profiles. You know, if you look at the side profile, this is just my personal opinion. I would prefer if they had dowels in place instead of the long brackets like that, so you can kind of see the figure a little easier from different angles. But a very high grade 95%. For $244 US. That is a great deal. Great buy. This was another one that both myself and Chris W. over at Rogue 5 Toys were watching. This was a China COO Leia Bespin. Very tough to find this one. It was graded straight 90s UKG. And Chris thought it would sell for about $300 US. I thought $385 US. Well, it looked like Chris was right and I was wrong. It came in closer to him. It sold for 255 pounds or about $311 US plus shipping, which it's about, after shipping costs, it was about, let's call it about 340 bucks or so, 335. But for a UKG straight 90% Leia in a very tough to find China COO, the China COO appeared on like Return of the Jedi card backs. So very tough to find that though. It just, for whatever reason, you never find that one loose graded. I don't know why, but that was a beautiful figure and totally different face sculpt and everything versus the no COO or the Hong Kong variants that I've got in my collection. But really pretty example for 255 pounds. That was a great buy. Next up was a Spanish PBP pink face Han Solo. There is also a pale face version. That one's a little bit more desirable than this pink face, but he's got a kind of a nice pink complexion, like he's been outside in Hoth's weather. It did have one little scratch on the hand there that maybe slightly overgraded. I don't know. It's graded 90% for the figure, 85 for the paint. I'd probably go 85-80 personally, but just because of the light paint wear. But it is a Spanish figure, and Spanish figures are notorious for having paint issues. It's got some chipping on the pants, and then that one little chip on the hand there. But in my opinion, it's probably just slightly overgraded, probably more like an 80+ grade in my opinion. Anyway, that one sold for 145 pounds, or about 177 US dollars. I mean, for a Han Hoth Spanish figure, high grade, that's a pretty good deal. Pretty good deal overall. This was another interesting one. This was an orange-haired Luke Bespin, but it had an unpainted saber hilt. As you can see on his left leg there, that saber is not painted at all. And it's very tough to find orange hair variation. It was graded UKG 85%, or excuse me, 80%. And factory air unpainted leg saber is how it's labeled on the UKG label. And it had the brand new case style as well. You have to excuse my voice. It's very horsey, very hoarse today. Anyway, that one sold for 299 pounds, one bid, 366 US dollars. I don't know this seller, but he also had a number of different factory air Luke Bespins that none of them sold. This is the only one that did sell, and this is probably the most desirable, given that it's the orange-haired Luke Bespin variation. Tough to find that one, but 366 US dollars took that one home. Next up was a Luke Hoth. This was another really nice example. Hong Kong COO, graded UKG 85%, brand new case style, and that one sold for 94 pounds, 114 US dollars. And what held it back, obviously, is the shipping, global shipping program of $62. I mean, that's triple what the Muffin Man is selling his items now in terms of the shipping costs. So that probably held the price back a little bit. It was probably a U.S. buyer that bought that one, but pretty good buy on that one, even with the shipping costs. This was a really interesting one. This was an AFA 80 department store exclusive 3-pack. This one has Lando, Leia Bush, and then Luke Jedi, Blue Saber. So that's a really desirable 3-pack, given that the Blue Saber was packed in on this Luke. So tough to find Luke baggies with the Blue Saber. But AFA 80, and that one sold for 1,375 US dollars plus $18 shipping. Really pretty example. I think these were like at Montgomery Ward or J.C. Penney would be where this multi-pack probably originated. And then I've got a couple of last 17s to round things out. I thought this was another great deal. UKG 90% Imperial Dignitary. Beautiful example, high grade, 90%. That one sold for 144 pounds, or about 175 US dollars. That's a really low price for a 90 grade Imperial Dignitary. With shipping, it's about $200. I mean, I was expecting more like $225 to $250 for that one for a 90 grade. So that was a great buy as well. And then finally, I got a CAS 80 grade Luke Skywalker in his Stormtrooper disguise, brand new case style, obviously the CAS case style. It was graded 80+. You'll have to excuse me on that one. No COO. Now 80+ seems really high to me. I think that's overgraded. It's got a little bit of yellowing going on, and then on the back of the legs there, it's got some scuffing going on. So I don't know how this got an 80+. To me, this is at best a 75+ or an 80 grade, but it did get an 80+. But I mean, you can see how on the front picture, you can see how discolored the limbs are versus the torso. That torso's nice and white, but the limbs are not at all. And to me, that's an automatic 75. So I think this was overgraded, in my opinion. But it's still sold for 494 US dollars plus shipping. So just another data point there for a Luke Skywalker Stormtrooper disguise. I mean, at the end of the day, whether it's 75 or 80 or 80+ or 85, you're going to be paying big money for a Luke Stormtrooper last 17 figure. They just go for big money, even ungraded. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed this look. There were some good deals here. There were a few that were kind of questionable in terms of how high they were, but for the most part, there were some really great deals out there in auctions. And thank you again for watching, and I'll be back soon.